Hello and a warm welcome to the show. Today we'll discuss what everyone has been talking about lately. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. But beyond the blockbuster itself, we'll explore why the ancient world continues to captivate us, from the classical architecture to the remarkable collection of Greek and Roman antiquities at the National Museum here in Warsaw. To discuss all this, I'm joined by Alfred Twardecki, antiquities historian. Hello and welcome, sir. Delighted to have you with us.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So, Christopher Nolan could have adapted almost any tale from ancient history, yet he chose The Odyssey. So the question is why it still continues to resonate with modern audiences nowadays?
I think that because this is a great story, and Christopher Nolan is not the first one who just tried to adapt the Odyssey. The Odyssey is since over 2,000, almost 3,000 years, very popular. But Christopher Nolan just did something what is maybe new and refreshing. I'm convinced that every generation needs the answer for the revival of the ancient sagas or myths, and Christopher Nolan tried to do this for us.
So, having seen the film, I presume you've seen it, so what struck you the most as the most faithful to Homer, and perhaps what was the most cringy from your perspective?
You know, I think that this is, I'm sorry, wrong question. So it is faithful to Homer, and it just fits the textbooks. This is not right question, because the Odyssey, the film Odyssey, is not the historical scientific monography. It is our art. And with art we have to do more with emotions than with knowledge. And here the Nolan, as any artist, has the right to make his choices and his adaptations. And actually, the Odyssey, the original Odyssey of Homerus, this is the epic story, the very first epic story in European culture. But what Nolan did is more Greek tragedy, so not the epic, but more Greek tragedy, concentrated on the human being fate and problems. So maybe this is why it is so popular. This answers very much our generations, our times needs.
However, some scholars were disappointed because it was called the women's poem by some, right? Yet some female characters, such as Queen Arete, are not featured in the film at all. So do you think that women got fair treatment in Nolan's adaptation?
Okay, so I repeat again, he has a right as an artist to make a choices, and most important is not he is faithful to the original or not, but do you like this film or not, because this is the art. Cinema is actually very deep rooted in the Greek theater, so emotions again. Not and if we watch the film, so you see Penelope, and there are plenty of female characters, and they are very interesting and very, in my opinion, very good way to just show it.
So did you enjoy the movie? Did you like it?
Yeah, I cannot say, I cannot answer. You know, this is not simple answer. I am just processing this film. I saw it a few days ago, and still I am in process, which is good actually. This is not boring film, and I may recommend to see the film, but still I need time just to make a choice. This is good, I like this or not, but it's interesting.
So let's zoom in on Odysseus for a moment, because Homer famously described Odysseus as polytropos, meaning of many turns or many-sided. So what makes him remain a hero even in modern times?
You are asking about the Odysseus from Homer's Odyssey or from the Nolan film Odyssey, because they are quite different persons. And as I said, Nolan has the right to do this. But the Odysseus in Nolan Odyssey is concentrated on his problems with the returning to home back after the war, and is also processing his emotions. In Odyssey of the Homer, this is the story of Odysseus, who is the hero, the pure hero. So he has also the problems, emotional problems, but they are of another kind. He's sick for wife, he's sick for family, for son, after son. So I cannot answer directly your questions, because we have actually to do with two Odysseus.
Mm-hmm. Well, a man of many turns and many sides, so that would be quite applicable here. And now, every few decades, we seem to sort of rediscover ancient Greece and Rome. It keeps on coming back through books, film, even in politics. So what makes it so appealing?
Well, I think that we actually didn't realize how deep we are in the ancient Greek culture. This is our culture, actually. If you are going to the school and in school to the museum, theater, library, so you have no actually idea, and this is no need to think about this, that these institutions were just invented by Greeks in gymnasium, theater, of course, museum, and other things. Also democracy, republic, and so on. We don't recognize it. We don't think about this, but this is ours. We adapted this. And I think that also in the literature, in the art, and in many institutions of, for example, political and cultural, we have to do with the institutions which are originally invented by Greeks. So maybe this is the point, that it still evoke the emotions.
So the National Museum here in Warsaw has the largest collection of antiquities from Greece and Rome in this part of Europe.
Between Berlin and Petersburg, let's say this way.
So how did it come to be? How did it sort of got amassed here in Warsaw?
Well, first the collection, this is very dramatic history of this collection because of wars and other events. But I would like to say there are chefs so special pieces in the museum. For example, sarcophagus with the Odysseus hearing the sirens, yes, on his ship, or absolutely fantastic tabula iliaca. This is small tablet from marble, which is depicting the story of Kirke and the companions of Odysseus. Actually, this is the relief sculpture with text. This is made in Roman time, on the time of Augustus. And this is a kind of ancient comic book. So you have text and picture then. So this is for the Odyssey, the main points maybe, but there are a lot of other interesting artifacts, of course.
Okay, but how did they end up in Warsaw? I mean, these artifacts. Is it through Polish archaeologists or Polish collectors from private hands?
As I said, this is very complicated history. So this collection of ancient art was just start to complete after the First War, 1918, and in the regaining of the independence of Poland. But it was very poor collection until in late 30s, Professor Michałowski did the excavations in Egypt, in Upper Egypt, in Tel Edfu. after 3 seasons, he just got many artifacts to the Warsaw, to the National Museum. The last transport came in the July 1939, so month before the Second World War started. And when Germans came to Poland, they were even not open, the boxes. During the war, of course, there were heavy losses of this in this collection, and after the war, it was completely new chapter because in the communist time, everything was centralized. So shortly after the war, the collection was centralized and put all the many artifacts from private collections, from former German collections on the in Poland, and then put together. After 30 years, and then of course we have the excavations. I just also made some excavations. Until the 70s, it was possible just to import, to bring to the museum, to Europe, the artifacts. After this is forbidden. So the collection has complicated story, and main part are the private collections of Polish aristocracy, like Czartoryski, for example, from Gołuchów.
All right, so you've mentioned Professor Michałowski, so let's zoom in on Polish archaeologists. I wanted to ask you how significant their contributions have been to the history of the Mediterranean.
Professor Michałowski was actually one of the most eminent Polish classical archaeologists. He was educated at the university in Lwów before the Second World War. By Professor Bulanda, who is the father of the Polish classical archaeology. And then after the war, he just moved to Warsaw and then worked at the university, at the museum, and in Polish Academy of Sciences after the war. And he first made the excavations for classical archaeology after the war. In late 50s in Crimea, I may say I followed this path, and I did also the excavations at Crimea before the annexation, of course. And then he switched it for the Near East, for Egypt, Cyprus, Syria, Sudan, and many other places. So he was also recognized widely in the world. He was a member of the French school at Athens, and this is maybe most important, he has many pupils, which were also the next generation, a very eminent and very known archaeologist. So therefore, I may say proudly that the Polish School of Classical Archaeology this is a good trademark now.
And it is a wonderful conclusion to our talk. Alfred Twardecki, thank you so very much for joining.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching Pulse of Culture. Please stay tuned for more here on TVP World.